Today in writing, we reviewed spelling words, and what you see here actually is taken from the Lucy Calkins first grade writing units of study, their small moment unit. And this is a review of the first grade chart that students are familiar with. Of different ways that they can spell words, because now that they're second graders, they're using more challenging words in their writing. As you'll see here, a lot of students are using words like excited, marvelous. Earlier we looked at, during our lesson, surprised, delighted, resolutions. And one of the things that we're trying to teach the children to do is to become less reliant on an adult and to try to write the words and spell them as best they can on their own, underline the word, and then they can go back to the word later in their editing to fix it up and use a dictionary if necessary. But we really don't want to stop the process of their writing every time they're not sure how to spell a word, and so we want to teach them to use some of these strategies to spell some of these words that we're calling sparkle words, which are words that really make our writing exciting and sort of really interesting to read. So instead of saying that the character was happy, maybe saying that our character was excited, or instead of saying that the character was glad, using a word like surprised. And so I'll just kind of demonstrate this again, just kind of show you the chart again, as I mentioned, taking from Lucy Calkins' writing units of study. This is what some of the strategies that your children are used to using. And to give you another example of a chart, of a way that a child might use this, in a sentence like, Gretchen ran so fast, she twisted her foot. And if they weren't sure, they might write it out the first time. And then when they might try a few different spellings using other parts of words that they know, or other words that have similar sounds, take what they've learned from spelling and writing and reading and apply that until they figure out the correct spelling of the word. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to kind of model this for you now. So, and I'll just do, again, one of the other words that we did earlier. So, for example, instead of just saying that the character ran to the park, they might say the character sprinted to the park to let the reader know that the character was running really, really, really fast. So if the word is sprinted, and that's a harder word than ran. Ran's a three-letter word. That's easy for them. Sprinted's a little more challenging. So they might think to themselves, what do I already know about those sounds? I might think of the syllables. Sprinted. Okay, so I have two syllables there. Sp, spr. So I might know, oh, well, I know that the word spell has SP, and if sprinted has sp in there, I might start with an SP, spr. So now I'm sounding it out, spr. Oh, I can think that this must be an R, spr, in. Oh, sprin. I have the word in here, and I know how to spell in. It's an easy word wall word, it's a snap word that I know really well. Sprint. Now I'm thinking, oh, it ends with a t sound, sprint. Now I'm thinking, let me sound this out. Does this make sense? Sprint. Sprinted. I know that when words end with the ed sound, and I'm talking about something that already happened, that I add an ed to the end of the word. So I'm going to try that here. And now I'm going to see if it makes sense. Sprinted. And so I would use that. I'll try one more example for you. So if I was using a word, instead of saying that my character said, I might try a word like my character replied. Okay, so now I'm going to think of that word replied. I'm thinking about the syllables, replied. I have two syllables, re. Well, I know that I've seen the word re in a lot of words, and it's always spelled R-E. Re, p, pl, Now I might start like this, replied, because this follows my consonant, vowel, consonant, silent E rule, replied. This is not correct, actually. This is actually not the correct spelling, so I'm going to show you how we'll get there. But this is what you might see from a second grader, and this is completely second grade appropriate because they do have the RE, they have the PL, replied, and they are showing here, if they did this, an indication of an understanding of the consonant, vowel, consonant, silent E pattern. So I'm going to maybe try it again. Reply. I know that reply ends with a Y. Replied. So then they might try something like this because they know the word now reply. They remember seeing that before. Replied. And then they might go, and again, this would be second grade appropriate as well. So if you see this, you can guide your child to teach them how to use the spelling rules and patterns to spell it correctly. But this is nothing to critique harshly for, because this is very second grade appropriate, and they are using appropriate second grade strategies spelling it this way. So then we might teach them, oh, well, we know that if a word ends in Y, often if it ends in Y, we change the Y to I and then add ED. And so second graders have not formally all learned this yet this year, depending on their spelling group, but they will. And so reply, replied. Hopefully then eventually getting to the correct spelling. But again, as I mentioned in their writing, if they have something close and they're applying the strategies, that is acceptable, that is developmental. And then what we do in the editing process is we would maybe go back and then show them how to use the dictionary to spell the word correctly. And I hope you found this helpful. And we're really encouraging second graders in their writing to use some sparkle words, really jazz up their writing, make it exciting. Instead of just saying, again, she ran to the park, she sprinted to the park. Instead of saying, he said, trying something like, he replied. Thanks so much for watching.